Hey, it's Josh and Alicia here of the Herp and Harbins, and we are competing in the 15 minutes of lame this year. And we actually have Paul of Large Marge Morphs, and he is the 2023 15 minutes of lame winner. And we're talking to him about just some insights on marketing and project adjustment he's been through. Let's welcome Paul in.
Hey guys.
There he is. Hey Paul.
Have you guys been on? Thank you.
It's funny. It's like we're just starting the interview, but what people don't know, we've been on like for 20 minutes already, just chatting.
Yeah.
Love it. It's fun.
That's good stuff. So real quick, tell us about how you got into this, where you started, what species.
Well, it's ball pythons. I mean, that's main. That's basically what I concentrate on. I got a caramel ball python from a pet store for my stepdaughter. Kind of, and I've never seen anything even just from that color, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty weird.
Yeah.
I've only seen the brown, normals.
Brown.
Brown. So like it kind of sparked my interest, I guess. And and I think everybody did the same. Go down the rabbit hole. So I ended up looking on YouTube and everything and stuff like that, and I'm like, this is pretty wild. And I met a bunch of people on Long Island. So Baker from Blue Line was actually kind of how I got talking to him, and then Kevin came along, and then there's Matt Foles, and then there's Reptile Creation. So I have like a surrounding of people. So I just kind of, like I said, sparked my interest, and then bam, I bought a sea serpent, like 16, the combo rack.
Yeah.
And like within a month, I had it all filled.
It's something about buying the rack. You have to fill it up, right? The slots have to be full. That's what happened to us. It's like, we're going to get this rack, and then it was full. I was like, we got to get another rack.
Yeah, instantly. So I mean, from there, I just was like, you know what, screw this, because I know exactly how it is. I mean, I'm pretty transparent about being an addict, a drug addict, but I turned into this being addicted to this. So I just bought the Freedom Breeder and the ARSs right off the bat.
How long ago did you start? Like, when did you get that caramel? And then
that was a while ago. I mean, we had that she called Yandu. So nice. We had Yandu for a long time. I'm gonna say even before COVID, but I got in after COVID with all the snakes and everything. And so, and I don't, it's funny, I know a lot of people that, pre-COVID or whatever, a COVID baby and stuff like that. So I'm not, I'm before it, I mean, after it. And
people say that like that's a bad thing. Like,
I don't know, because sometimes people talk about it being it's a bad thing or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know the full like, how everyone says is, as soon as they put a snake up and they sold it right away, and stuff like that. And then people got spoiled that way, with that, and then all of a sudden now the market's, kind of like flatlined a little bit, and people are like upset about it. There's a lot of people leaving. Yeah. So like, I'm not like, I don't think I was affected by that. So I don't, and nor am I in a position to be like, oh, I need the money and everything else.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, am just like, buying some snakes, doing some pairings, keeping most of them, because I'm kind of like, all right, let me build up my collection a little bit, whatever I can, sell a little bit, it's fine with me. I'm not in the position that this is taking food off my, the table in the house or anything like that. So,
now, when you bought that sea serpent rack, was your intention just hobby, or was it business at that point, or has it shifted fully to business? Where are you at on that spectrum?
So obviously, I think that was more like a hobby intended, at first, and I've always liked, reptiles, since growing up and everything. I'm like, oh, maybe I can breed. So so like that was in my head. Maybe I can do this. So that was like kind of like where I was at for a little bit, and now like just like maybe recently, like I started revamping my collection a little bit, so to get to that next level. So
Gotcha.
of I guess business aspect more, but I like coming down here and getting away from my job kind of thing as well. So
Yeah.
I guess hobby business. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's where we were at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
We were definitely hobby that were it was kind of like I remember us even saying in our interview to you said it, we were trying to stay neutral
Yeah.
financially. Like we weren't necessarily planning on, replacing one of our incomes at that point. Um, but we loved the hobby so much. And then
Right.
it morphed this year.
Life happens.
Life happens. And
Yeah.
so now we're having to a little bit more intently think about it as a business so
Uh-huh.
that we can manage
Well,
the
the option was
collections.
either like dive in and go for it, or just get out. And it's like we
Eh,
didn't want to get out.
Yeah.
We both
Yeah.
loved it.
I mean that kind of that landed in your lap.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It did.
So
It was
so
kind of like we weren't
yeah.
going to sell his collection off either, and there's rumors were going around that we did. I'm like, we haven't sold anything but what he already had labeled on the things,
Say it
on
sold or
his
something.
tubs from the show two
Yeah.
weeks
Right.
before he passed away. And I said, now we've obviously sold a few more since then that
We're
have
not
hatched.
not liquidating. It's like
But
a family legacy. I mean,
yeah,
since like you were talking earlier, if you and your dad did this together, and that
Yeah.
was me and dad. Like he always had snakes in the house and
Yeah.
lizards.
Yeah.
Um, I can't imagine not having this as a part of
yeah,
my life.
yeah. Now, I guess we could talk about some of your
Yeah.
marketing stuff.
So, how has your marketing changed, say, since the COVID era? How are you approaching marketing yourself? Like, leaning heavy into things like YouTube, Instagram, or are you doing more like Google ads per se, or what's your
Right.
strategy there for marketing yourself?
So I mean, I'm more of an Instagram guy. I'm on Instagram a lot. I mean, obviously, we kind of like melded with Fat Man Nation,
Yeah,
doing the podcast for the 15 minutes of lame and all that stuff too as well. Um, so, but I think out of this like what snakes and everything, sell is on Instagram. I started YouTube. I just was doing shorts and everything with it all, and you would build some things, but then all of a sudden like the algorithm would change, so I kind of like fell off with YouTube. um and then so I'm mostly like focused on Instagram. I have Facebook, but I guess it's connected, so that whatever I post on that, so I'll
yes,
get messages and stuff like that as well. I'll do that. But I think when I first started and everything, I was in every podcast. Like I would be
Mhm.
involved in saying hello to everybody and doing
yeah,
all that stuff. And it's not that I got away from that, but outside, like I guess my name would be around is I did that. You throw some super chats and you do that and you do this and everything, and you're always in everybody's podcast. And
yeah.
I think that's part of marketing as well. It's just
It
people
is.
That's
seeing your
very true.
name. I mean, I'm an '80s
Getting-
child, so that's kind of like where I got the large Marge from Pee Wee Herman. But
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
but my mother's name is Margaret.
Marge.
So
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
so and I call her Marge all the time. So it just fit right, off the bat. And years ago, I used to buy her shirts with large Marge on it from Pee Wee Herman, and she used to walk around all the time.
That's
That's
So
awesome.
like
awesome.
That's cool.
Actually,
so
that's a
so
pretty
it's kind
funny
of like a
story.
sentimental thing, with that. And my mom always comes down and she's like, "Let me see the babies" and stuff like that.
Babies,
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but the marketing aspect is I focus on Instagram. I mean, I have a Morph Market, but I've never posted on Morph Market. I've only spoke to people and they bought from me from like through word of mouth, if anything,
nice.
and that way.
Do
Um,
you
I've also
do you do shows yet? And is that in your progression of your business plan, your marketing plan?
yeah, I am gonna I am. I've done a couple of shows and it's either with it's with Baker, so Blue Line, Kevin, and then Ryan from Nash Exotics.
Okay,
So the three of us will end up going. We went like White Plains. We did one year. We did the Nassau show a year, and they did a few more, and I tagged along. But I think I'm going to focus on a couple of shows now. Next
okay,
year. So
yeah,
we already signed up for one. I think in March we're going to do the Nassau show,
okay,
and
cool,
yeah.
yeah,
So
We
yeah,
really enjoy shows, and we're doing this to try to get better at the online thing.
Yeah.
Because all that driving's a grind. I mean, loading up all the stuff,
You'll wear it
getting
out.
all the deli
I
cups
can't
ready.
imagine doing that. Like, especially like people that are driving like 16 hours or to go to Tinley and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh man. But like
Well,
that's
it wears on us, but I worry about the animals too because you have
Yeah.
to, got to feed at a certain time, and you got to make sure they digest, get them in these little
Yeah.
containers, make them all someplace, make sure they stay hydrated. I mean, it's that to me is probably one of the more stressful
Yeah,
parts of it.
yeah.
But and then you get in there like these show clusters. Like we were like bam, 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 bam for a couple months, and now we're kind of. I'm like, I'm glad we're not going to show right now.
Yeah.
I need a damn break.
Yeah.
This is wearing me out.
when
But
when's the
yeah,
when's the
but I
next
do
show
think
that you guys
that
are
has
doing?
become part of our marketing
Yeah.
strategy too, just meeting people and networking and stuff like that.
Right. What do you guys do? I mean, so you did Tinley, right?
Yes,
Are you gonna do Tinley next year too as well?
yes.
Okay.
We got Tinley and we did Dallas and ARBC. We
Okay.
did it earlier this year and we did it this spring. And then we always do Daytona. Daytona is big for hognose and like colubrids,
Yeah,
although there's
that's
ball
right.
pythons there, obviously. But it's probably the best grouping of
Yeah.
hognose breeders
Right.
that you can see. But plus, we like it because it's a beach.
Yeah, you get seafood.
It's awesome.
Daytona.
Yeah, it's so much. You gotta go. It's just so much fun.
It's more of a destination show. So you get to
Yeah.
do the snake show, but then you get to enjoy.
Run
beach,
around playing on the
relaxing.
beach
I
and finding
used-
like geckos and stuff and that kind of.
I used to when I was younger, me and my family, we used to go down to Daytona years. I mean,
Yeah.
and so I've done that. I mean, I've been to Daytona. And unfortunately, every time that Daytona show happens, I'm going to Iceland. So me and my wife go to Iceland.
Okay.
Her family's there, so we always book the same week
Oh yeah.
every year in August. And I'm like,
Nice.
shit.
Yeah. We need to shift this one way or another.
This year,
I
we're supposed to be
100%
going in
would-
July.
Yeah, I would 100% do family over
Oh, yeah.
Daytona.
Totally.
Yes.
Any snake show for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
definitely.
this year though, I think we're going to be going to Iceland in July. So
Oh.
I might be able to do Daytona.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That'll be
so,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
it's
be cool.
it's a lot of fun, but we've got those, and then we are signed up for the Southeast Reptile Expo that Bob
Yeah,
Voos
Bob's.
group. They just
Okay.
had that
Did-
one, and so we're
Did
signed
you
up
do
for
that this
one.
year?
We didn't get to do it this year because we had
Okay.
Dallas, and
Okay.
then we had Charlotte AARPE like 2 weeks later. Josh was in Chicago for a work thing in between that. But what I did is that I drove from Montgomery after taking care of the snakes and went to Atlanta on Sunday and got to walk through. And it was great. It was just a wonderful show. And
Very
so,
cool.
Bob, I basically got with the group while we were there. I said, put us down. We want to do this. And so they just got a hold of us. And so we should have tables set up. And it's going to be enough time in front of Tinley that we won't be
Okay.
just crammed. But then we'll do the Charlotte AARPE.
Yeah, that's a good show. That's kind of a cool show. It's
Yeah.
a neat mix of hobbyists and like the plant people come over and look. You can tell they're fascinated, and you can see the gears spinning. They're like, the bioactive stuff is huge right now.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
so
well,
if you can do
we
it
went
plant-
so we went to Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, me, Chris,
Yeah.
and Kevin, and let me tell you, that show. Listen. I don't have much experiences of show. I went to Tinley a couple years ago, and that. But this show was absolutely, I think, amazing. That the fact that it's in a I don't know what it's in a place that does these events. So the place is tremendous. So it had all the way at the end. It had dogs and cats.
Oh.
Then you come in. It has ponds like in fish.
Nice.
Then it has plants, and then it has reptiles.
That's
Sweet.
awesome.
That'll be awesome.
And you have like 13-foot aisles. Like
Wow.
everybody's walking through. Like you're just like could walk with your arms out, and
Nice.
and it was
Good
still
space.
packed.
Yeah.
And it was really cool watching everybody from dogs and cats coming through to the reptiles and everything. Like a lot of people did really well up there, and just the atmosphere was pretty cool. And
They're
the
talking
plants
about Dallas being like that now. Like Dallas has always just been like how Tinley and everybody else is with NARBC, but apparently Dallas Spring, it's going to be set up like that. There's going to be an aquatic area,
yeah.
and I think maybe there's several other things they're going to set up. So it's going to be more of
I
an
think
expo.
that was pretty like that was cool, and like it brought in a lot of foot traffic for everybody.
Cool.
I think that's the kind of way to go now.
Okay,
know,
that
I
makes
think
sense.
consolidate.
I mean, on top of like, you're saying all the aquatics and everything like that. I mean, the plants, you're
Yeah.
bioactive and all that stuff. It goes
I hear
hand in hand.
a ton of
Goes hand in
reptile
hand.
keepers we know have tanks. I mean, they've
Yeah.
got fish too. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
Makes sense to
Right.
kind of have it all together like that. So you you talked a little bit about, project changing. Like you've got a lot of holdbacks. How has your project mentality changed since when you started? Do you
Well,
think it's the normal progression of where you just buy a bunch of stuff like most of us
well,
do?
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
then,
pretty. Yeah.
oops, I don't really have a plan for this, or what do you think?
100%. That's exactly what it was. And I'm like, I'm like, this is cool. That's cool. I was doing those spin for wins and winning all of them. And I'm like, oh, they're great. And nothing that to like even focus on a project at one point. So I'm
Okay.
like, all right, that's great. And then I, finally come to realize that I'm like, oh, this is no good.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so like I kind of, I, focus on Desert Ghost. I have a lot. I got I got enhancer line from Canadian Reptiles up in Canada. So I kind of like was focusing on G Stripe. So I ended up going that route with G Stripe enhancer, and now I picked up a couple of G Stripe clowns.
Cool.
So I'm focusing on that. Gonna tinker around with that. But in the midst of that, I picked up like a bunch of like not ready to breed, but babies, triple het G stripe clowns. So I got a bunch of them sitting around, growing up. So I kind of like took out and it was over 60 animals, like of stuff that I don't want. And I started like, dispersing. I went to a couple of pet stores and they like, I'm like, if you want some of these, and then they're doing like specials, sell the snake with the tank kind of thing, and stuff like that. So it was just pretty cool that I was able to, shed some weight with that. So, and then I'm started, like I said, so I didn't like, and this is even better too. I didn't like G Stripe at all. So like, I hated it. I didn't like it. And through the couple of the years that I've been watching, and I'm like, wow. And like, so like I guess growing in the hobby and realizing, and I'm like, I love this. So like that G Stripe is like one of my like favorite genes.
It's one of our favorites too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got, I end up picking up like an Enchi Krypton het DG het G Stripe, which I'm pretty excited for.
That'll be nice.
I got what else now? And then I got a couple of sunsets that I kind of started, going in that direction too. So I don't know what I'm going to tinker around with them, but I love sunset. So I ended up getting like a sunset het clown. I have a Cine sunset that he's ready to breed, so I'm just, I kind of like focused on, of course, like, what will bring in some money,
You gotta be able to support yourself.
Yeah. So I ended up picking up, I got a puzzle project that kind of landed in my lap at 1.2. Nice. And then the guy reached out to me again. It's like, hey, he's like, I got a puzzle visual het G Stripe. I'm like, really? I'm like, I'll take that too. And that's 1,100 grams. So I'm like, sweet. So like I kind of like, I think those are like the main things that I'm focusing on.
Yeah. That's cool. That's one of the first things that we started work at actually investing in when it was just me and him deciding what ball python stuff we were going to work on was the G Stripe clown combinations. And so that's one of the areas that we focused. And then now with Tom's collection, we have enhancer G Stripe clown combos and the big female that we're waiting for Tom, that the Tom's been waiting for years to go, is the Monarch G Stripe clown visual female that is still just sitting there like a
Hold on, you said Monarch G Stripe clown?
Monarch G Stripe clown, the only one that we know of in the world. And so,
she won't make babies.
She's
that's amazing. I love it. Yeah. That's so great.
Absolutely beautiful. But she just likes to sit there like 12 millimeters. I'm like, chick, you need to get going.
No.
Yeah. We may bring her to Tennessee just so that maybe the drive.
I was just going to say, maybe the drive will help her out.
Yeah.
And then we'll drive her back to Alabama if we have to.
So
drive it through the mountains.
Yeah, everybody just drive
Elevation.
around,
Let's
like,
go.
get it together. But we probably will move her up here in the next month and try to get her moving because the male that we're actually have decided to breed her to is one of our males. And we've kind of analyzed the entire collection, and we've actually talked to a couple of people that knew about her. They're like, "What do you have?" I said, "We're not going to go buy another snake. We have extras right now. We don't need to go buy another snake." But we're actually probably going to end up going ahead and pairing her to our leopard, inchy, yellow belly, probable red stripe, clown, het DG boy, and then have all that smeared together. I think it'll be awesome. And so I think it's probably our best bet right now. And
we know what Dad wanted to hit. He told us, and we knew what we wanted to do as a couple. So now that he's gone, we're going to try to keep 75% of what each of us were wanting to accomplish on track.
Yeah.
But then we're going to take the leftovers and kind of play in the middle a little bit.
But that's cool though. I mean, I get it. But at a point you're combining plans. I mean, you're keeping his plans as much as you can, but you're going to end up intertwining them anyway at some point or another, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so which is amazing though.
He has some targets, and we're going to find one way or another to hit those targets.
We're doing it. We're making those mistakes.
And like we were talking earlier, like this is a hobby, and the hobby changes and evolves. And what's cool now, maybe in 10 years won't be. You'll have to find something else that makes the hobby make sense.
Right.
Yeah. Like neutral was the word we liked. We would love for this hobby to pay for itself. Like how many hobbies exist that pay for themselves? Like boating, fishing, no. Rifles, golfing, no.
Right.
Hot rods, no.
There's really little. I mean, I was in the dog show world forever, and unless you're like a handler that's out there literally just showing everybody else's dogs,
right?
I mean, it's just another sinkhole of money. Yeah. I mean, you're not making that. Even if you sell puppies and sell stud services, how much it costs to go to shows and stuff like that. So again, that's another hobby that we just like. This is cool that it does pay for itself.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know a few people that breed dogs, and they got into like the designer, Frenchies and stuff like that. But that market is the same as this. Yeah. Like they went from $25,000 a piece to literally $5,000. I mean, or even and you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like so, like that's.
I think it got oversaturated the same way.
Like,
and the thing is like. I'm a vet, and that's one of the breeds that we have to C-section everything. We have to surgical implant all that stuff. They're putting so much money into just the reproductive part of it. They're cutting into their profits just right there because that breed just doesn't do it on their own.
Yeah, I know.
They're $2,000 in the hole just to make a litter.
Right. And I remember like he has like somebody over here that he can breed, and this that. So like he has to travel to bring the dog. I'm like.
Shipping sperm,
oh my God!
We played that game for a while.
Enough. It's like it's a lot. And somebody was asking me today. It was actually one of my friends that we met through the dog world. And she's like, "Who wants a snake?" I said, "A ton of people want a snake."
Yeah.
And I said, it's not that I'm not attached to my snakes, but there's an emotional difference between being attached to one of your dogs versus your snakes. And I said, I'm kind of emotionally burnt out over the years as being both a vet and owning a lot of dogs. I need something that, I may tear up a little bit when I lose a snake here and there, but I'm not going to just fall into a little deep depression at this point.
I get it. Oh yeah, I get it.
We're not going to get a necklace with an emblem picture of the snake.
She goes, she's like, I understand what you're saying now. I said,
right.
But I can handle him. I can look at him. I can appreciate the animal itself.
I think it's similar to the aquatics hobby, like fishes. Like you don't get to play with the fish. They don't play fetch. They don't wag their fin at you.
They don't sleep in the bed.
You enjoy them.
I'm gonna cut you off on that one. So I had a I had a sump behind me, so like the water would flow. There was 3 sumps, so it would come in, and then our sump would be behind my house. So we would actually go there, and I'd actually catch fish. So like there was a couple like sunfish that they were in there. And I had a sunfish that was from a baby to grew up, and I would actually throw him stuff, and he would actually bring it back. The thing would eat worms out of my hands. I would throw the worm. He would bring it. I am not making this up. this is pretty. It was pretty wild. But
Cool.
yeah, I don't know if he had emotionally attached to me, but I think it was just a thing
Yeah.
that I kept doing it and kept doing it, and it was amazing. My
I wish
dad
I
was
could have
like,
taught my garamis to fetch. They didn't. They didn't like feed me. Then they run away.
My dad was like,
That's
I
cool.
can't believe you trained this fish.
That's
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. So you
Yeah.
did share a few of your projects. Is there any specific snake that just like is like got your heart now?
So I got a few, but I think the G stripe Krypton that I have, or the Krypton Het G stripe is I can't wait for that project. I know people made it and already hit like the G stripe, and everything. I know Justin has and everything, but I don't like that. I don't look at that and be like, I got to chase this and everything. I think that's like one of the projects that I'm looking forward to.
That
You
sounds
know,
really cool.
yeah,
We
yeah,
like
yeah.
Krypton too. We've got a few Krypton. Actually, one of our few clutches that we had this year were Krypton clown blends, and
Uh-huh.
we were initially like, I remember when she laid those eggs. It was just probably about a month or so after Tom died. I was like, God dang it, we don't need any more eggs. And then I got mad at myself because I remember telling him about the pairing. He's like, he was excited about our
Yeah.
pairing, that it was
Yeah.
going to be really cool. And then when they finally hatched, I still kind of had this weird detachment. And then finally one day I was like, you know what? I'm really proud of these little snakes. We thought of this, we made this blend,
Mhm.
and we both really like them. And like let's keep going with what we want to do.
Right.
And, so that's kind of been our big motivation lately. Is just
Mm.
we can still do what we wanted to do. We can still do what he wanted to do, and then we're gonna make things happen in the middle too.
Well,
So,
just because person X hits combo thing is like, well, that doesn't mean nobody else gets to make it. Like,
Yeah.
I want to hit that combo.
Yeah,
I wanna do
Exactly.
it.
And it's funny too. Like, I mean, it's obviously like I have a bunch of cypress. I have a bunch of cypress stuff that is just lingering around. I just hatched over, and it was just a very simple combo. It was the Enchi leopard clown to a butter cypress, and I got so. But I mean, I can easily go buy a cypress clown. Like I have no worries. I can go do it and everything. But I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it myself.
Mhm.
So and I got I hit just I think it's a butter Enchi leopard cypress and head clown and
nice. Yeah,
I just think it's fucking cool looking.
that's
and,
awesome.
and it's
That's
nothing and there's nothing to it. Like,
Yeah.
so and out of that clutch, I think I had 7 eggs. I think they were all cypress. I think every single one was
Wow.
cypress.
Ah, nice.
That's great odds, isn't it?
So I mean, I would have thought, like maybe, but I think they're all cypress. Every
That's
single
pretty
one.
awesome.
Nice.
You
Nice.
know, that's now that you mentioned that, I don't know why Tom's Cypress Yellow Belly Clown. A lot of his clutches are heavier cypress than not cypress.
Mhm.
Like there's always more cypress in it than not. And I'm like, I remember going through some of the clutches, like, why are there so many cypresses in here? You would think it would just be like, like 50-50, but it was always heavier.
Yeah.
So
So
I think that's
It
interesting.
must pass on well.
It's a super strong gene.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
fast
I
swimmers.
think so. I was like, oh shit. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And
So as much as I'm into the clown G stripe, has anybody hit a cypress clown G stripe?
I don't think so.
Have you seen that? Huh. It just made me start thinking about it. We started talking about because we have a lot of cypress here too. You
Yeah.
obviously like it.
Hmm.
I haven't even looked at that. I don't even know what that would do.
I don't know either.
I have
I
to
don't
look
know.
it up now.
You know what? That's funny. Yeah, it's funny. You think about it. Like that's what. Like so when that guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have the puzzle head G stripe,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, huh. I'm like I was thinking about it because I like I said I got a few puzzles, and everything. And I'm thinking, and I'm like, that would be pretty cool. And I'm like thinking, and I'm like, somebody said that somebody hit a puzzle G stripe. I'm like, well, I want to see it. And then somebody's like, well, here, you can just take this, and it's the Krypton G stripe. I'm like, but I get it. They're like, it'd probably look the same. I'm like,
Yeah,
Right.
but maybe not.
I
not.
still want to see what this looks like.
Yeah.
I know, and I know, like a lot of people don't like the puzzle clown combo. It kind of doesn't look, like it's puzzle, I guess, and everything like that. But I'm still like, I kind of want to make a puzzle G stripe clown.
Well, and I think the puzzle is so much stronger than say the Krypton itself. So like maybe the puzzle could bring out even more intensity. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't know.
I couldn't
So
compare them equally.
yeah, so I think I figured that once the guy reached out, I'm like, yeah, yes.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I can't wait to see what you do with that. That's going to be
Yeah.
kind of nifty
So it's gonna
because
be fun,
we like
I think
those kind of
and of
combos
course
too.
it'll take a couple of years from it, but
Yeah.
I got old time
Where
in the
you
world.
going? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I got old time in the
That's
world.
how where we're going.
Yeah.
You're young like us. You got time.
Yeah.
Yeah, strapping young lad, right?
When we're under 80s sitting around talking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
On the front
So
porch, our rocking chairs, whittling on some wood. It'll be nice.
so you guys ready for this whole season or what? Of the
I think
15 minutes or
so. I
what?
mean, life's always busy and it's chaotic right now.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we can with
Yeah.
reels and content, but
Yeah.
we really are going to try to focus more on displaying our collection. We were talking about that in the car ride back this weekend.
Mhm.
Like, I think we're pretty humble people, and sometimes showing off an animal feels like bragging to us, and so we
Yeah.
don't want to be. I don't
I,
know. But
I
we do
look,
need to share what we have so people can know what to collaborate with us
We
or
right.
we
talk about.
decided we realized it's more of promotion of the collection,
Yeah.
not bragging, but like this is promoting what we've got because I don't even really think people realize what all we've got. And then we're also hoping to kind of help people understand the hognose game and like where we
Yeah.
stand in the hognose game.
I think that's a
And
great,
I
idea.
think, we really right now we have the top end hog noses in the country. And so you don't know that if you're just a ball python breeder or
Right.
you're just a
Yeah.
boa breeder or something like that. And so we're gonna try to make sense of that for people. And we're Tom was in this very similar projects. We crossed over a lot anyway. So it's not hard to blend collections that already have similar kind of
Yeah. That's
progressions.
great.
We had a
Right.
few little different paths, but our hognoses really blended a
Yeah.
lot because we imported stuff together. I mean,
Uh-huh.
me and him stood in the driveway, like, hey, he's like, you want to get in on this? I was like, well, how do you do that? You ship them in from Switzerland? He's like, yeah, you should just ship them in. I said, okay, let me go ask Josh if we can just shot all this money.
We'd have a family get together for Thanksgiving, and mom and me and Ben and my brother would be inside, and we'd look around like, "Where's Alicia and Dad?" And they were outside under the little street lamp thing, and we're like, "Oh crap, they're up to something." And she'd come in like, "Hey, I got this idea." I'm like, "Great."
Shit.
We're going to the bank tomorrow, aren't we? Yeah, I gotta wire some money to this guy I've never met. He can't even speak English.
Oh,
But
yeah.
And what's dangerous for us is if we're at a show and I hear her go, "Ooh," looking at something, I'll look at it like,
we
like
both
we
like
want
it.
the same stuff, and so we won't check each
We
other.
don't check each other at all. It's really bad. But no, I think we're gonna have fun with this competition and we're gonna learn a lot.
We've already had fun.
We've already had fun. It's like
Yeah.
one day in, we're having fun. And just getting to know people and stuff like that. I don't know.
I
That's
think
probably the part we
I
like the
think
best.
that's like the best part is obviously, you know, you'll create even the month of just competition against each other. You create a friendship
Yeah.
out of whoever it is,
Totally.
and
Totally.
yeah,
Well, like we
and it's
watched the
fun.
competition last year and found out Jared Wood was right down the road from us. So now
That's
now
funny,
Jared-
right?
Yeah. It's like, oh
Yeah.
my God, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool just getting to know people and I don't know. I'm excited about it. And I think, if it'd been a month earlier or God forbid 2 months earlier, we would not be in a good
We'd
mental
have-
state.
yeah, we
But
would
I
figure it
think we're finally like, I think we got this. And it's coming at the right time for us. And
That's good. Good.
that's gonna be
I'm glad. I can't wait to see all what you guys do. I think that's a great idea though to like educate with the hog noses as well because I know at some point like Crystal like is kind of gonna educate for Cresties and stuff like that as well.
yeah, because
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
got
yeah.
really
I
high
have, I have no idea what I'm looking at. So you
Her-
said
her crested investments are high end. Now, his brother actually breeds cresteds, and so I've looked at Crystal's collection. I'm like, she's got the top end
Yeah.
cresteds. These ball python people don't really realize where her crested level is.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I think that's another thing that us other species people have to make sure we get across to everybody.
I think that's great. I think it just the whole competition itself. It's just great for the community kind of thing.
Yeah,
People looking
really
forward
is.
to it. I think absolutely.
Well, we'll give you a chance Do you have any questions for us?
So I mean, so let's see, because we were talking about it before, and I'm sure. Um, so how long? Well, since we were talking about it though, how long does it take you guys? Because the collections that you combine to go to a show, how long does it take you guys to pack up and put your shows? Put everything in to get ready for that show.
We kind of pregame for like a week out. Like which ones do we want to take? Which ones are ready? So, and it's not necessarily all day long. Where you're kind of studying like who's been eating well,
Yeah.
who's gonna thrive.
Yeah.
As far as for the juveniles.
Yeah. It also depends on the show. So like Dallas and
Yeah.
Charlotte, we essentially took all of both collections that were ready, everything, pets to high end stuff. And then when we came to Tinley, we had to regroup. We weren't going to take pet stuff, and we only have 2 tables there instead of 4 tables, and that's a huge reduction. And so we took high end stuff, and not necessarily everything of each high end thing. And so we had to kind of go back through. So that one took a little bit longer. But then from like say we've got all the labels put on, we're taking 150 animals per se. We start loading up. It probably takes us almost 3 hours just to get the animals loaded into their things, because we usually weigh them as we go on and update that in our Husbandry Pro app. That way there's a current weight on there. Making sure everybody looks good. If somebody missed a meal, I just close the tub up and just, especially with hog noses, it's really vital for them to be eating consistently.
There's probably a couple hours spent throughout the week just updating our data.
Okay.
So at the show, people can scan that QR code on the animal and get like when they were born, what they're eating, what the parents look like, because people love that.
Right.
It's one thing to explain it, but when they can pull it up on their phone, people love,
And they can see it.
scanning QR codes. Man, just put QR codes and people will scan them.
Yeah, they scan anything. They don't even care. They don't even pay attention. But I'd say just getting packed up with the animals 3 hours and probably about 5 hours of prep.
Right.
A few days before.
Is there a difference between your hog noses to get ready and prepped to come to the ball pythons?
The hog nose are nice. So in the colubrid world, for the most part, people prefer to sell in cups, deli cups.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
accepted.
In the ball python world, people want the displays.
Yeah,
And
we
so
had our $12,000 hog nose in a deli cup at Tinley.
Yeah.
And that was completely okay.
That's just what you do.
That's cool. We're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's fine. We did do displays with hogs for a little while, but we actually sold more of them when we had them in deli cups. And so we shifted everything to deli cups with the colubrids and the hogs. And so a weird dynamic there. But I mean, Jeff Gallwood Jr. of JMG Reptiles, which is probably considered the highest level hognose breeder in the country, all deli cups piled up all over his table.
Stacks of deli
stacks
cups.
of them. And so
really, do you think it's more interactive when people can grab the deli cup and look at it and everything? Yeah. But I mean, also now if you're busy and everything, somebody could walk off with it.
They can come up and pick them up.
Me and Dad designed a display, so it's kind of like a flat display, and there's a acrylic lid to keep them. If somebody wants to look at it, I'll pull it out and like give it to them, but they can't physically reach and grab our cups.
Yeah.
All right.
And he even cut holes into the acrylic,
like little windows.
It's a window, and the only thing that they're having to look through is the plastic lid of the deli cup. That's it. So it's not distorting it or anything. But we see people all the time like reach down to grab, and it's like bam, but we just pull them out.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I saw what you're trying to do there. Honestly, so we use that as an invitation. If I see somebody reaching for it, I know they're interested. Yeah. And so I'm going to go over there and address them and talk to them and say, hey, let's take a look. And I'll get it out and put it closer to the light. And
right.
Like you said, that the cup seems grabbable, but when they're locked in that cage of a display.
Right. Yeah.
And like even Jeff, when he's got really high end stuff, he's got a display thing that has a lid on it that those go in there, and the rest are just stacked up. But he does have his kind of segregated also. I mean, it's a whole different world. It's kind of funny. We've had to learn both worlds so that we make sure that customer is comfortable with whatever we're presenting to them. So
how long have you been involved in hog noses?
That was our first thing that we got into, actually, with the hogs.
Almost 6 years now with the hogs. Yeah. Okay. 5th breeding season.
Dad called us up and said, hey, I'm going to a Repticon in Atlanta. Y'all want to meet up? We'll go get some dinner or something. I'm like, yeah. So we stood behind the table with him and watched him work the crowd. And Alicia just jumped in there and started selling snakes with him. And
Okay.
it
I,
was we walked away from that like, man, that was
It was
great.
so
That
much
was
fun.
fun.
Yeah, so
And so
much
we
fun.
got some hogs from Dad and got started, and then started going to more shows with him as his like assistants and
Yeah.
just helping
Right.
him. And we were looking at these ball pythons, like, well, that's pretty. Like, we need some of that.
He had an extra like small juvenile rack. He's like, "Hey, do you need this right now?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be easier for me to put these couple of hogs in." And then I filled that rack up.
Yep.
And then we had to,
And then we got another
we
rack.
got another everywhere. So yeah, that was. And the funny thing is, we actually had corns. My oldest snake is a 29-year-old corn snake,
Is it how
and
old?
29,
Yeah.
29 years old.
He's blind as a bat. but
Blind. He's got cataracts.
He doesn't miss a meal.
But my parents bought it for me for my Christmas present from the veterinarian in the neighboring town, which was his dad, and we hadn't met yet.
We grew up 15 minutes
grew
away
up
from
in-
each other,
yeah.
had no
How
clue.
cool is that?
Yeah,
That
that's
is
cool.
pretty fucking
Yeah,
cool.
let me see if I can. Let me see my. You see that my tattoo?
Yeah,
So that's the snake, and that's the veterinary sign. That's the snake. That's him, and that
That-
it was produced by his dad,
Yeah.
and then
that's wild. That's
Yeah,
a
isn't that
great
cool?
that's a great story.
yeah.
I remember when we started dating, went to her apartment and I saw this albino corn snake, and I'm like, where'd you get that?
So actually,
And,
my parents bought it for me, and your dad produced it.
Because I knew a guy who raised albino corn snakes.
Hey, I happen to know somebody.
But it's kind of another link in our little chain of
It was meant to be.
supposed to be
Right.
together.
That's amazing. That's great. I like that story. That just made that's pretty
I
cool.
think you were the first we've told that to in a while.
Yeah,
That's-
I think we've told it randomly, but yeah, that's been one of the first ones.
Yeah. I like that. That's cool.
Well, man, thanks for all your time.
Yeah, it's been fun.
This has been
Thank you
cool.
guys so much for interviewing it.
Yeah. Well, hang on a second. Go back because I do want to show you something off stage here.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Paul. Hang on just a second, guys.
No problem.
All right, guys. Thanks for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Paul's great.
Yeah, Paul's awesome. So if you have time and this still makes sense, go vote for us on the 15 Minutes of Lame contest.
Thanks, guys.